Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video I am so excited to do. It is going to be a new tag video, a new eyeshadow palette tag video, and a new collab video. We got a trifecta going on over here. Today's video is going to be an updated eyeshadow palette tag. So last year, Allie Glines and I teamed up and we did the eyeshadow palette tag. That is what we call the video. We had a few different prompts in there regarding eyeshadow palette collections, and neither one of us thought that tag video was gonna take off in the way that it did. So many other creators were making the video. I ended up making a playlist just so people could just go through the playlist and watch all of these different eyeshadow palette tag videos, and it was so much fun. I know Allie and I had a great time watching those videos. So as we got to the end of 2021 and I did my eyeshadow palette collection declutter, I thought, why not do another tag video? So I reached out to Allie. I said, hey, do you want to team up again and do another eyeshadow palette tag? And she said, I sure do. So here we go. We have a new eyeshadow palette tag, a few more prompts to answer. I'm going to link Allie's channel down below. If you're not yet following Allie, you probably are. So that sentence probably didn't make any sense, but I love Allie Glines. She is just one of my favorites on YouTube and also in real life. I've had the pleasure of meeting her. I had her on my podcast. We talk behind the scenes quite a bit. I just respect her so much. Her hard work, her just beautiful production of videos that she makes, just her calming demeanor. I really enjoy watching her videos. She's so beautiful. I also love the Allie Glines bags. If you saw, I recently did go on vacation and I posted a video of what I brought in my travel makeup bag, and I used the Allie Glines bags. Of course I did. What other makeup bag would I be using? So I really look up to her as a businesswoman as well. I just think that she is multi-talented and such a gem here on YouTube, and I'm so excited to be doing this collab video with her again. So like I said, if you're for some reason not familiar with Allie, I will have her channel linked down below. Thank you to Allie for collabing with me on this video, and let's jump into it. Alright, well, welcome. If you are new to my channel, if you're coming from Allie's channel, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Samantha. I like to start my videos with an outfit of the day. I started doing this when I first moved to Las Vegas from Iowa because, you know, I started changing up my style and kind of getting back into what I prefer to wear, and then it just kind of caught on and people really do enjoy seeing my outfits of the day. So today I just have on just a dress, actually, just a cute kind of casual gray, white, and pink dress. I got back from the gym. I immediately got ready. I did a little bit of filming on this look using the new Bridgerton collection. It came when I was on my trip, so today was the first time that I was trying it out, and I did record it for Instagram. My Instagram is March Beauty Word. I post a lot over there, a lot in my stories, a lot with my dog, and then I also do quite a bit of demos over there on my reels. So this look will be going up on my Instagram, and then I immediately jumped on a live chat. I did a live chat yesterday talking over new makeup releases, and it ended up going for over an hour. Got done with that, immediately changed, and now I'm sitting down. So it's just been kind of a whirlwind day, but this is just one of my favorite kind of casual dresses, so I decided to throw it on. But I do always link all of my makeup in the description box also, so if you're curious about anything I have on my face, it will all be in the description box, along with all of these palettes that I am about to mention. But to jump into the tags, if you want to create this video yourself, I will also list them all in the description box, so you have all of the prompts down there. And I did also put this on my TikTok, which is by Samantha March. I have one video where it's kind of more focused on a declutter. So I go through a tag video for the palettes that I did declutter, and then I did another tag video of this one, except we kind of switched around a few of the prompts and I switched a few of the palettes because I did film that in December. So wanted to mention that also. You can follow me on TikTok. I post a lot over there too. A lot about my life in Vegas and going through a divorce. So it's kind of an interesting little outlet for me. But let's jump into the prompts. So the first one is an all-time favorite eyeshadow palette. There was obviously so many palettes that I could have chose from, but I decided to go with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. This is just a palette that I continually go back to. You know, with my job as a YouTuber, I'm obviously trying out a lot of new makeup and buying a lot of new makeup and kind of constantly trying to rotate my collection. But the Sultry palette, I just tend to go back to so often. This was actually what I wore on New Year's Eve. This is the palette that I chose to wear. I just thought it was a perfect New Year's palette, but this is my favorite Anastasia palette out of all of the palettes that I've tried from the brand. This is my favorite, the one I continually go back to. I love the formula. I love the shimmers. The mattes are easy to use. I love that cool toned color scheme. This is one that I definitely wish was permanent in the Anastasia line, but definitely an all-time favorite. Next up, we have a new favorite palette, and I decided to go with the Natasha Denona Glam Face and Eye palette. When I recorded the TikTok, I actually chose the Natasha Denona Retro palette, which I love the Retro palette. Big favorite of mine. If we could have had like 25 prompts in this video, for sure the Retro would have come up at some point. I really enjoy that palette, but also the Glam Face and Eye palette I feel like just gets me. I purchased mine in the shade Light, so you have your 5 eyeshadows, the cream blush, and then also the highlighter. I just think that it's a beautiful palette. I love that we have a couple face products in here too. Once again, the shimmers, beautiful. Again, if you're new to my channel, Natasha Denona is one of my favorites for eyeshadow palettes. I buy a lot of her palettes, especially the minis and the middies, but when I saw the Face and Eye palette come out, I was instantly intrigued and really became a favorite of mine. Next up, we have a palette that you keep for the memories. I chose from Desi and Katy their collaboration with Dose of Colors. This is the Friendcation palette. When I was doing my eyeshadow palette declutter, which was ruthless, if you love declutters, you will love my declutter series that I did in 2021, because I really went in on my declutters. My eyeshadow palette one was such a huge declutter. But when I got to this palette, I was like, I feel like I should declutter it because I don't really use it anymore, but I just couldn't do it. And I just remember being so excited when Desi and Katy came out with this. I still really enjoy following their journeys, even though neither one does quite as much makeup anymore. I'm really fascinated by the business side and how they handle everything. Desi's family life, her fertility journey, all of that. They're still really interesting for me to follow and to watch them grow and, you know, kind of create their businesses. I think is super inspiring. And I was so excited when they did their Dose of Colors collab and, you know, bought the palette, super pumped. I remember they were doing their squad tour that they did with their husbands, which I thought was like the coolest thing, something that I really wanted to replicate, and who knows if we'll ever be able to do because of the COVID-19 pandemic and all. But I just thought it was such a neat thing, and I loved following their friendship, and I just have so many good memories from this palette, creating the different looks with it and just being excited about it. So it was one that I couldn't declutter it. I just had to keep it for the memories. Next up, we have an underrated eyeshadow palette. I chose out this one from Lawless Beauty. This is the One eyeshadow palette. Now, Lawless has a handful of other smaller palettes, which typically I lean towards smaller palettes. I like, you know, the mini palettes from Natasha Denona, the 5 shades. I like the 6 and the 9 pans from Colourpop. But something about her larger The One palette just gets me. It's an almost all matte palette. We just have a couple different shimmers in here, but I really enjoy this formula. It's very buildable, it's very blendable, which is what I prefer. I'm not a makeup artist. I don't do the most intricate or the most complicated makeup looks. A lot of times I'm using 2 or 3 shadows. I don't really like to spend a lot of time blending. I don't have the most amount of patience. And this one is just, it's so easy to use. The shimmers are still so pretty. And I still find myself reaching into this one, even though I like some of the mini palettes. Like I just purchased the Glam one, which is an 8-pan palette that Lawless released for holiday. And I think it's a great palette. But this one still just has my heart over the Lawless palettes. And I don't hear a lot of people talk about their eyeshadow formula, but I think it's a great one. Next up, we have not a favorite palette, but one you can't get rid of. I have from Colourpop, this is the Lil Ray of Sunshine palette. If you have been following my channel for a while, you might know when I lived in Iowa, I had a garden and we planted sunflowers, and I was so in love with my sunflowers. I named them Kevin and Lucy, and we were the best of friends. And then one day, a massive storm came over Iowa and took out pretty much everything. We had a tree on top of our fence, the garden was destroyed, our patio furniture was gone, and Kevin and Lucy did not survive the storm, and I was so upset about it. But at the time when they were still alive and kicking it, Colourpop released the Little Ray of Sunshine in the Sunflower palette, and I was just so excited about it. So it's a 9-pan all matte palette. We have some of those bright poppy yellow shades and some browns in here, and I just felt so like so happy whenever I would look at this palette and it would remind me of my sunflowers. And even though I'm in Vegas now, we actually have a little community garden at the complex that I live in, and lo and behold, a couple weeks ago I was walking by and 2 sunflowers, I'm gonna start to cry, it's so ridiculous. 2 sunflowers were standing tall, and I was like it just was such a weird, if you guys are new to my channel, you might think it's really strange that I'm crying, but it was such a strange moment that it was not 1 sunflower, not 3, not 4, it was 2 sunflowers in the garden, and I just stopped and was like, it was one of those things to me that was kind of like a sign, because why I moved from Iowa to Vegas in part is because I am going through a divorce, which is very hard and you know, obviously a very challenging experience to go through. I've been really enjoying my time here and the friendships that I'm making and the experiences that I'm having, but it was something about seeing those 2 sunflowers that just, you know, it just made me feel like I'm on the right path. So that might sound super silly, but there's, you know, a little bit of a backstory there. But just whenever I look at this palette, when I open it up and when I see the different shades in here and they remind me of the sunflowers that have come with me now on this Vegas journey, it just, you know, it's not a favorite, but I just can't get rid of it. So next up we have favorite collab palette. So once again, just a little bit of self promo here, if you will. But once again, if you are newer to my channel, if you're coming from Allie's and you've never seen any of my videos, I did actually get to do a collaboration with Ofra Cosmetics in 2021. And one thing that we came out with was this Life's a Draft palette. And I'm just super proud of this palette and everything that it kind of stands for, including the name Life's a Draft. I am also a self-published author of 8 novels. My 9th novel will be out in 2022, which I'm super excited for. So I really loved having the theme of, you know, of writing and having it say Life's a Draft, because things are always changing, new challenges are coming up. I don't know how to say it any more clearly than that. Life's a draft, and you just have to roll with it, and you just have to keep doing your best and keep trying with no matter what adversities you need to overcome or what obstacles get in your way. You just have to keep going and keep writing your own story and the best story that you can. And a lot of the shade names in here are super personal to me. I have the name of my first niece, the first time I became an aunt, so I have a shade name named Maya. I have Dream Chaser in here, which is what I call myself. I've called myself a full-time dream chaser for many years. I started blogging back in 2009, and just kind of, you know, I have so many different passions and interests, and I just feel like I get to chase my dreams every single day full time, and I feel like that's really special. I have a shade name called 23, which I actually have tattooed in Roman numerals on my finger. My birth date is the 23rd. My grandmother was born in 1923, so 23 has just always been a favorite number of mine. Just different things like that with the shade names, and I just love this palette so much. This is one that I don't use as much. Like I said, I just got back from my trip. I haven't even unpacked my makeup bag yet, but I did take my Life's a Draft palette on my trip with me. So this one is a little bit of a cleaner palette, but we have 8 shadows here, and then a bronzer, a highlight, and also a blush. And I'm just super proud of this palette. It's still available on the Ofra Cosmetics website, but definitely a favorite for me. Next up, we have a favorite palette that you purchased in the year 2021, because this is technically, I called it like the 2021 eyeshadow palette tag, but maybe we'll call it the 2020. I don't really know. I need to check with Allie and see what we're calling this video. Gotta figure that out. But a favorite palette you purchased in 2021, I went for the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. This was also a palette that I didn't really see my deep love coming for. I thought maybe I might regret purchasing this because it's more expensive at $68, but I ended up really enjoying it. You have 2 cream shadows here, beautiful mattes, beautiful shimmers, beautiful topper shades. I really like the packaging on this one. I'm very much into neutrals, again, kind of those quick and easy looks, and for me that kind of leans more on the neutral side. And this is just one that I go into like my brown smoky eye so much, and I know I'm always going to get a really pretty look out of. So definitely a favorite purchase of 2021 was that Patrick Ta palette. Next up, we have a palette you didn't expect to love. So could have also mentioned the Patrick Ta, like I said, but from Colourpop, the Star Wars Mandalorian. This was one, when I saw it being released, I I don't watch Star Wars, so I wasn't super interested in that. But sometimes with Colourpop, we all know that they release a lot. I don't even know, when I was doing my live chat on the new makeup releases, I have no idea how much I mentioned from Colourpop. It was a lot. But one thing that I noticed with some of their collab palettes is that I don't feel like the quality is as good. There's a lot of Colourpop palettes that I really, really love and that are favorites of mine, but I feel like with their collabs, they tend to miss the mark. So when I got this one, I was like, I feel like I already know it's not gonna be a favorite. It's not gonna be good quality. I did like the color scheme in here because I actually do really like green shadow looks also. I was so surprised by this palette. The quality is fabulous. Like, this is probably the best collab palette that Colourpop has done in my opinion. I mean, the mattes were simple to use. These shimmers were popping. I was like, wait a second, what? It's also just a really cute eyeshadow palette, and in the PR package, they sent a little like stuffed Baby Yoda, which I gave to my dog, and it is her best friend. That Baby Yoda goes everywhere with us. It moved from Iowa out to Vegas with us. She still carries it around. Every once in a while I find Baby Yoda on the couch, on the bed, in her kennel. I'm like, oh, okay, like, she loves Baby Yoda. So that's also a great memory. But I definitely was not expecting to love the Colourpop Mandalorian. Or I'm sorry, the Child. No, the Mandalorian. The Child palette. I'm so sorry if you love Star Wars. I'm so sorry. One thing that I kept saying in my eyeshadow palette collection declutter was, and just all of my declutters really, was if something's not bringing me joy and I'm not using it, I'm not trying to keep it around. I've been trying to, you know, kind of Marie Kondoing my whole life, going from a 5-bedroom house where I had entire rooms dedicated to my makeup collection to now a 2-bedroom apartment where one's like actually a bedroom and then the other one is just my office and my filming space and everything all in one, housing my makeup collection, my shipping, running my business out of my apartment. It's just, I can't have as much stuff, nor do I feel like I want as much stuff either. And I've spoke about this in a few of my my previous videos here, and it's something that I kind of want to expand on a little bit more in future videos too. But that's why I was really going in on my declutters and saying that I want to keep the products that bring me joy. So I thought it would be fun to include in the tag video, what's a palette that sparks joy for you or brings you joy? And the palette that I decided to choose out for this one is the Tiny Marbles, the collaboration with Sydney Grace and Mel Thompson. This is one that I usually just have kind of like a lot of my, I don't really have my makeup organized yet. Because again, when I moved here, I realized truly how much makeup I had and I didn't know how to organize it, and so I did my declutter, but I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to organize everything. So a lot of my palettes I have kind of in these clear bins, like the clear shoe boxes that I got from the Container Store before I moved, and they're just kind of put away. But I always have this one out somewhere. It's either like sitting up, or it's either just laying there, or it's somewhere, because yes, when I see it I get a little sad and I get a little teary-eyed, but it brings me joy to look at this one. Oh, this is tough. But it really does bring me joy to look at the Tiny Marbles. Mel Thompson did pass away in 2021, which was hard for a lot of us who were friends with her or who watched her on a regular basis. But I know how much she loved the Tiny Marbles palette and how excited she was. And I remember talking to her around the time that it was releasing, and she was so excited and she loved the artwork so much. And the quality, it's such a nice eyeshadow palette. I've recommended it so much. I know it's sold out right away. I was so proud of Mel. I think it's sold out like every time that Sydney Grace has brought it back, which is just amazing. But I look at the names and, you know, it just reminds me, you know, obviously this palette will always remind me of Mel. So even though it makes me a little sad and a little teary, it's still the palette that when I see it, it brings me a lot of joy because I remember Mel, this palette. So since we have entered the new year, I thought it'd be fun to add in a couple of 2022 specific questions in here. And one of them is, what is your newest palette to your collection? Mine is what is on my eyes today. So I mentioned in the beginning that I do have on, so I think I did, that feels like so long ago, but I have on the new Pat McGrath and Bridgerton palette. This is the Mothership Diamond of the First Water. eyeshadow palette. So I just got this. Like I said, I did a little demo today for my Instagram, so if you want to check it out, that will be on March Beauty Word. But I just used these 2 shades right here. That's it. I used Plum Regalia and Duchess Divinity on my lid, and I thought that it was beautiful. So the shipping was very delayed on this. It did end up coming when I was on my trip, so today was the first time that I've tried it. I haven't even been able to watch anybody's videos yet and to see like what they think of the collection, but I've been seeing a lot of people you know, go for this blue glittery shade, so I'm really excited to try that. I did also get the face palette with the blushes and the highlights, so that's on my face, also in the demo. But I love Bridgerton, huge Bridgerton fan, very excited for season 2 to come out. I will say I'm not a huge fan of the Pat McGrath eyeshadows. I don't have a ton of her palettes in my collection, and none of them are really in like my top tier category. So I kind of went back, well, no, I didn't go back and forth. I knew I was gonna buy this one because I love Bridgerton so much, but I was a little bit leery that I wasn't going to love it. And again, I've only put on 2 shades on my eyes so far, but I thought they were really pretty. I thought they worked really well. That shimmer was super popping. I was like, okay, Pat, I see you, Pat. So I'm excited. Is my hair everywhere? So I'm excited to keep trying this one out, but this one, the Pat McGrath and Bridgerton eyeshadow palette, is the newest one in my collection. Next up, this one might be a little bit tricky because when I texted Allie the prompts, because we kind of changed around a few that I originally had from the TikTok that I made, I meant to put the first palette you used in 2022, and I accidentally typed to her the first palette you used in 2021. And as I was sitting down, I was looking over our text and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I texted her right away and I was like, I meant to say 2022. I don't know if that was obvious, but I'm not sure if you filmed yet. I'm just sitting down to film and my phone is charging in the other room. So I'm not yet sure if Allie's gonna do the first palette she used in 2021. I don't even know if I would be able to figure out that information. I thought 2022 would be easier since we're in the start of the new year, but if you want to do this, you can answer 2021 or 2022, whatever it is that you want to do. But for me, this was one that when I did an Instagram reel with it, I put, this is the first time I'm doing my eye makeup in the year 2022. I think it was like January 3rd that I did my makeup, and I used the Colourpop by the Rosé palette. So this is one of their newer palettes, and when I got this, I was like, this is just so pretty. I definitely want to try this one out. I've used it a handful of times now. I'm actually really impressed with the palette, very impressed with the quality. I like the shades in here, but this was the first eyeshadow palette to grace these green eyes in the year we call 2022. So I just thought it would be fun and maybe something that was like kind of easy since we just started the year. But again, I'll be curious if Allie can remember what palette she used in 2021, if that's how she answers this question. But other than that, that is everything. Those are all of the prompts for the round 2 eyeshadow palette tag. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed seeing the palettes that I chose out. Again, I'll link my declutter down below if you want to see that one. I did also do a video ranking all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2021. So if you want to see that video, I can link that one too. Again, I'll have Allie's channel linked in my description box. I'm so excited to see her answers, and I hope some of you do this too, because watching the eyeshadow palette tag video from last year and watching that playlist was so much fun for me. So I hope some of you guys will do it. Again, the questions and the prompts will be listed in my description box. But other than that, that is it. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I hope you also consider subscribing before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.